All right. Hey, cigar lovers, got another cigar review for you today. Today, we're going back to Foundation Cigars, and I have one of my favorites. It is the Tabernacle, but it's not the regular Tabernacle. This is the Havana Seed CT number 142. So you ask, okay, what is a Havana Seed CT 142? So this is the wrapper on the cigar. It is a hybrid. It's still grown in the Connecticut Valley, but it's a hybrid between a Connecticut broadleaf and a Habano Cuban seed varietal. And the 142 just happens to be the variety of that seed that they came up and decided to go with for this one. It is it's not shade grown. It is sun grown, but it's a beautiful, beautiful looking wrapper. The binder on it is Mexican San Andreas, and the filler is Honduran and Nicaraguan. And from Nicaragua, they have the tobaccos are from Esteli and Jalapa. I will say this is very similar to the original Tabernacle, except we know that the wrapper on the original Tabernacle is Connecticut broadleaf. The binder and fillers are supposedly the same. Also, although they do say that there's a little bit less Honduran tobacco in the CT 142 than there is the original Tabernacle. And there's a little bit of difference. I can taste a little bit of difference. I think mostly what I'm tasting the difference in is the wrapper. But it is supposedly a little different. So comes in a variety of Vitolas. It comes in a Corona, which is a 5.2 by 46. Your standard Robusto, which is 5 by 50. Up to the Toro, 6 by 52. And then it comes in a David and Goliath was what they call. These are both Perfecto shapes. The David is a 5 by 54. And then the Goliath is a 5 by 58. So that's what we have here today is the Goliath 5 by 58. Also comes in a double Corona 7 by 54. And then rounding it out is the Lancero, the 7 by 40. The cigar in the first four Vitolas originally debuted in 2018. Since then, they've added the David and Goliath and the Lancero. This is a moderately price point on this cigar. This is not a cigar that I smoke every day just because of the price point, but it is a nice treat to have once or twice a month. So kind of in that mid-moderate range as far as pricing on this cigar, especially when you get up into this beast of a Goliath here. This is a little stout little cigar, 5 inches, but it's got a great feel to it. The bands on the also are a little bit different on the David and Goliath. The band on the rest of the Vitolas has a much bigger picture of this king that's on it, and with the David and Goliath, it kind of has a sunburst pattern behind just a smaller picture of him. So when we look at the aesthetics of the cigar, it's got a nice, dark, oily wrapper, very reminiscent of a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. It looks very similar to it. Just a nice, dark-looking wrapper. It's got a maroon and gold band on it. It pops very nice. This particular one has a foot band on it or a lower band. It says Goliath 5 by 58 Perfecto on it. As I mentioned, the king on this band, it features Haile Selassie, which was the 225th king of what we now call Ethiopia. His image goes back to King Solomon. His lineage goes back to King Solomon. If you want to learn all about that, in my original review of the Tabernacle, I went into detail about the history of the band, the Tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, and how it's known to be suspected to be in Ethiopia. So I went into all that. So go back and watch that if you're interested in that. Same story behind this one. This is aromas of the cigar. Got a nice tapered foot on it here on that Perfecto. I get some cedar, some leather, and some almonds. So I'm going to go ahead and get the cigar cut. I'll be back in just a second here with the cold draw. All right, we're back. Got the cigar cut here. Went ahead with a straight cut. Normally I like to use my perfect cut, but with the Perfecto shape, if I were to use a perfect cut on it, it would just take just the top tip of it off, and that's not enough surface area for me able to properly smoke this. So I just use my regular straight cutter. Interestingly enough, this cigar cutter, it's the very first cigar cutter that I ever had. It's 30 years old. It's an old Macanudo cigar cutter. It's just a testament to, you buy a quality product the first time around, you take care of it, it basically will last you forever. So I know you can spend a lot of money on some of these accessories. So take the time, get what you want, and take good care of it, and it'll last you. So I don't use it very much. Like I said, normally I really love my perfect cutter. Just push it up against there, boom, it cuts off the exact amount. But we went ahead and took off enough to properly smoke the cigar here. Cold draw. No draw issues, even though we got that tapered foot. Got some cocoa, a little bit of barnyard, and some earth. So I'm excited to get this baby lit up here. We'll be back in the first third, let you know what I'm tasting, as well as my first impressions on the cigar. All right, into the first third of the cigar here. Burning very well. It's got a nice white ash to it. Absolutely, really, really, really enjoy this cigar. If I had to compare it to the Tabernacle, it's funny. They say that what you taste in a cigar is 80% of the wrapper. I'm kind of on the fence. Sometimes I think if you switch things up on the inside, the binder and the fillers, you can influence it a little bit more. But there is really something to that, because with the regular Tabernacle, I know that I had red pepper and oak in there, and this is something totally different. So it's really cool. That you can that they can do that with these cigars. I will say, when I do a review on a cigar, or anybody does a review on a cigar, the notes they're tasting, it's all subjective. It's based on our life experience, what we've tasted in the past, what we've been exposed to in the past, our diet, our lifestyle. So you may listen to a review, and people are picking out different things. But generally, I find that most people are in that same ballpark, but you may be able to pick out different things than other people can, and other people are picking out something else than you are. So, if you like my reviews, I appreciate a like and subscribe on YouTube here, and also moving on over, start putting the episodes going forward on Spotify as well. So if you're driving on the road, appreciate it if you pop over there and subscribe, and you can listen to them there as well, and putting the video on Spotify as well. So if you're sitting stationary and you want to watch it, you can watch it there as well. But into the first third here, black pepper, I get a nice cedar, and then I get this very unique taste. It's kind of like a malted, and this is not going to make sense, but like a malted salty hay note. Very, very unique. And I only get that in the first third of the cigar. And then it's followed by a nice earthiness with some, a little subtle spice there, that black pepper spice, and then some nice leather in the cigar. As far as strength, on the flavor strength profile, I'm going to put this one starting off. I'm going to put it smack dab in the middle at a medium, at a 5 out of a 10 on my scale there. Beautiful draw on it. I really do like this 5x58 size. As I've said before in many reviews, 60 gauge is about my max. I don't like to go anything bigger than that. This does have the tapered Perfecto cap on it, so it seems like it's a little bit smaller, but it feels good in the hand. I know a couple of weeks ago we did the West Tampa Devil Crab, and I was asking, that's 4.5 inches long, and I said, man, I just wish I just had a little bit more. This gives this is an extra half inch, so this is 5 inches, and it just feels like it's a little bit more there. Really liking it. So I'm going to smoke down in here, get into the second third, and I'll be right back. Let you know what I'm tasting there as well. All right, into the second third of the cigar here. Burning very nice. The intensity is, excuse me, the intensity is picked up a little bit. We were at a 5 in that first third. Now we are up to a 6. So we got one level up on that scale of 1 to 10. Still have that cedars moved more up front for me, a little bit more earthy, and the leather, that black pepper still in there, but it's kind of in the back and lingering. And I still have that malted hay. That salted flavor that I was tasting has dissipated. So it's just kind of like that malted hay flavor. And I know that sounds strange. I really don't know how else to describe it, but that's what comes in my brain. So I'm going to smoke on down. I'm going to get these bands off here. Be back in the final third, let you know what I'm tasting there, as well as my final impressions on the cigar. Wonderful cigar. Anything Foundation's putting out these days or they've ever put out is just absolutely fabulous, in my humble opinion. All right, into the final third of the cigar here. Got it mounted on my pick. As far as intensity, we jump up just a little bit, up to a 6.5 from a 6 that we had in the second third. A lot of the same flavors, but they kind of take turns driving throughout the cigar, which I really appreciate. This is a fairly complex cigar. I've got leather up front now. I have that earth, that malted hay, if you will. And then I have this lingering black pepper on the back end. Overall, on my flavor strength profile, I'm going to give this a 6. So just over a medium, kind of getting into that medium plus category. That's my wheelhouse. I love medium plus cigars. And this cigar has not disappointed. Absolutely love it. My overall rating for this cigar out of 100, I'm going to give it a 92, which is a decent number for me, a very good number for me, as a matter of fact. If I were to compare this to the regular Tabernacle, I didn't mean for this to be a comparison video, but I kind of keep going back to that. I think, which one do I prefer? I think it would have to depend on the day, what I'm looking for, what I want to enjoy. I think the regular Tabernacle is just a little bit more spicy. It's got a little bit more edge to it, but I don't want to take away from the Havana Seed CT 142 because this is a phenomenal cigar. Now, is this cigar for the new cigar smoker? With the regular Tabernacle, I know I said no, probably not. But this one, I'm kind of on the fence. It's a little bit milder, and I would say I'm going to go ahead and say yes on this one. It does have, that black peppers. It's not a very strong black pepper. It's a nice black pepper. Even on the retrohale, it's just very nice, not overpowering. So we talk about the flavors in the cigar. We've got black pepper throughout, cedar, this malted hay flavor, nice earthiness, and some leather. And as I said, they kind of take turns driving between the first, second, and final third of the cigar. So this has been an absolutely wonderful cigar. I'm going to continue smoking this on down to the nub here for the next 15, 20 minutes. But this has been by Foundation. This is the Tabernacle. This is the Havana Seed CT 142. And this has been the Goliath. This is the 5x58. So until next time, smoke them if you got them.